Hey everybody, Randy Pierson, Executive Vice President for Sales and Distribution for Gordon Marketing, and welcome to another episode of Selling Life and Annuities, where today I've got Paul Bechtold, our manager of debt elimination programs and infinite banking concept and almost anything related to whole life. And today we want to talk a little bit about whole life in the senior market. As many of you may be aware, Gordon Marketing operates principally in the senior market. We're a major player in the Medicare space, and therefore a lot of our agents work with people that are over 65, and many of them think that whole life insurance doesn't have a place for those older age clients, and we're here to tell you that that's just not the case, right, Paul?
That's exactly right, Randy. So I always like to try to fit sales ideas with the market that we're in at a given time. So being that we, as you've said, just come off of AEP, we're principally in the senior market, okay? I can't think of another thing, very few things that could benefit a senior client more than the fit of a properly structured whole life contract, because principally, let's face it, most of those agents are going out, and if they're having secondary sales now, they're having them in the final expense arena. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. But what a lot of people don't realize is that just a regular whole life insurance contract structured to the client's needs, but a more traditional whole life policy can solve many, many problems. The first place that I would say most agents are maybe misconstrued a little bit is they think the cost to the client is going to be too much. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
And then secondly, they don't realize beyond the death benefit, some of the other things that whole life insurance can solve, okay? So the first thing I like to hang the hat on is in the environment we're in right now, high inflation, a rocky stock market, cost of living going up for everybody, right? Guarantees are a very, very strong anchor. Would you agree?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Also, the living aspect of whole life insurance as far as that long-term care type of benefit that a senior could benefit from. So, Brandon, I kind of turn it back over to you, but I mean, you cut your teeth in the whole life market, right? So, yeah,
I think you really hit the nail on the head in one of your first comments you made, and that is a properly structured whole life contract. I think oftentimes I think about or see on television or on radio some of the pundits that are out there talking about life insurance as a financial tool. And when they specifically talk about whole life, in many instances, they advise consumers that it's not a good deal or that it's expensive. And it's just not so when those contracts are properly structured. However, what is a legitimate concern with seniors and folks over 65 is the underwriting aspect. What's the underwriting like nowadays, Paul, for whole life in that older age space?
Well, I mean, to a larger degree, all life insurance is getting easier to underwrite all the time, right? There's more and more levels of simplified issue, accelerated underwriting. Those age limits seem to go up more. Now, the 65-year-old, for the most part, is going to have to go through full underwriting, but it's fairly lenient underwriting, okay? I mean, we get questions all the time. Hey, my client has type 2 diabetes. Is that going to be a decline? No. Actually, they don't realize they could get standard ratings being a diabetic that has their diabetes under control, for example.
Yeah, and might I add that the analogy that I like to use with agents often is, an underwriter or a carrier doesn't expect a 60 or 70-year-old to be a marathon runner to get preferred, right? I mean, you can have hypertension, high cholesterol, be taking medications for all of those and still get preferred underwriting. So not nearly the concern that it was at one point in time in the past. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other benefits too, by the way, right? It's not just about the death benefit anymore, and it's not even just about the cash value in the contract anymore. What are some of the other reasons that a consumer might be enamored with the idea of buying a permanent whole life insurance contract?
Well, let's kind of pivot back to what I really position it for, which is helping people to get out of debt, right? So one of the things I love about it is, 65-year-olds going into retirement out there, most people don't realize they're still carrying a mortgage in most cases. They maybe have an auto loan, some medical bills, they have some credit cards. They may even have Parent Plus loans that they're carrying in from their kids going to college. Okay, the average senior is going into retirement with $80,000 to $100,000 of debt. We can still help those folks out. There's this misconception amongst agents out there, Randy, that because of their age, that the premium going into the policy is going to suck up all the cash in the policy. That is not the case. What happens is we're still using the same percentage of premium going to the cash value. It's just going to get a little bit lower death benefit. Okay. But we can still be very effective in helping them to eliminate the debt. But by the way, at the same time, while they're getting out of debt, they're building liquid wealth. They're avoiding taxation. They're getting those long-term care type benefits. Sometimes we get critical illness type benefits as well. There's what I call the financial Swiss Army knife that comes into play. And there's many, many, many benefits that have nothing to do with the death benefit that come with it.
Yeah, let's talk more about one that you just mentioned, and one issue that or expense that is oftentimes the most costly to an older age client, and that's taxes. What are some of the positive attributes of a well-constructed whole life plan for an older age client as it relates to taxes?
Well, as far as financial tools go, Randy, obviously life insurance is the only financial tool that we can really offer people outside of maybe a Roth IRA, where we can take an after-tax dollar, grow it tax deferred, and it can come out tax-free. So we can eliminate Uncle Sam from the back pocket and get our clients' money, wouldn't you say, effectively to go 30% farther than they're going to go with any other financial tool, right? If you bring annuities into play, we bring qualified money, we bring other financial tools out to help seniors with their financial issues. Taxes come into play in some way, shape, or form. So life insurance is a great solution for that.
Yeah, and speaking of which too, right? Chronic illness benefits, critical illness benefits, all of those are also received tax-free to the consumer. And lest we forget too, once again, the death benefit is always received by a named beneficiary on a tax-free basis, right?
Absolutely.
So, if you're an advisor out there, and particularly if you're an agent working in the older age market and you'd like to sell more whole life, if you'd like to sell larger cases with larger premiums, thereby increasing your income in the life insurance segment of your practice, you need to reach out to us here at Gordon Marketing in general, and in specific, reach out to Paul Bechtold here, who is an expert in the design, implementation of sales ideas and the actual sale of, because he is still a salesman out there and selling lots of life insurance himself in the life insurance space. And so reach out to Paul. He can certainly help you. Paul, why don't you give the viewers your number real quick so they can call you directly?
Absolutely. You can contact me pretty much 24/7, 317-626-3054, or you can send me an email to paul@gordonmarketing.com. I'll be happy to field your question and try to get back to everybody within 24 hours. And I look forward to really helping you grow your sales in 2023.
Fantastic. And listen, if you got something of value out of this video, please do me a favor and click subscribe at the bottom, as well as the notification bell, so you'll be sure to hear about every video that we roll out in this Selling Life and Annuities series. But for now, on behalf of Paul and myself, we'd like to wish you happy selling.